of what this company is, I mean, this company is a game changer. This company changes the whole, the whole market and the legal services. And that's what MidOcean saw. And when I get to know MidOcean, as I talked about yesterday, they came in and they saw a company that was scalable operationally. They saw something that was scalable and provided services. Now that the Salesforce is scalable. What I can tell you is I've been privileged enough to spend a lot of time with them over these last few months. And I can tell you this, they're intelligent, they're honest, they got character, they really have the same fabric of all those type of hats, okay? And they have a big vision, just like he did 40 years ago. And I can just promise you this, just like myself 12 years ago, I would not have let go of my baby if I didn't think it was in good hands. I would not have done that, okay? I can guarantee you, Alan Fearnley was stepping back, and then he's still coming in, would not let go of his baby if he didn't believe in who they are as people. Okay? The biggest gift everyone needs to do and give to Mr. Fearnley, thanks, and Shirley, thanks, is to go on with MidOcean, lock hand in hand, and build this to a multi-billion-dollar company. Can we do that? So with that, I've gotten to know most of you, a lot of you people here over time. I think you know who I am, the principles, the philosophies I stand for, and I can just tell you, what I'd like to do is transfer my belief in them to you, because you got some incredible people here. Rick Mason, who is when the transaction's done, will be the CEO of the company, Chief Executive Officer. This is not his first rodeo. Not talking about just a business, but in the direct sales business. I'll tell you about that. He's been successful, and he's bringing with him a team of people. It's not their first rodeo; they're very successful. You're going to get to hear from Alan Fearnley. Okay, you've heard from Frank Lewinsky, you've heard from Frank Shep, you've heard from these other individuals. Noah, the dancer now, right, Noah? And but incredible people. And that's just the beginning of a whole team that shows up. Okay, and a CEO, they're the leader. They're the one that drives the direction of the company. Alan Fearnley comes up and to share with you what he wants to do to brand this company. We can make this company an amazing brand name out there. We're doing so many things for you. And I think the thing I'd like to make to you is that they're betting $650 million and we can take this to a couple $1 billion. You get that? So that happens because we have a great home office staff that's scalable. They happen to be able to provide attorney law firms that are scalable, growing. We have a field here, us, who are scalable, and they are scalable, okay? And we got a marketplace that's just untouched, it's unlimited. So I just think we're very, very fortunate to have them coming to the team. I don't think there's a better situation on a much larger scale than what I went through 12 years ago. But it was an amazing thing to see what's happened. But I don't think there's a better situation for your future. I really believe this, and I mean this, is your future is guaranteed now. If you're willing to do the things necessary to be successful, you got a company that's either unlimited, and it's just, I do not believe the entire industry direct sales, I know this industry very well. The week after this announcement was made, I just happened to be invited to go to Key West to spend 4 days with John Addison, who you know he is, a great friend of our company, the CEO of Prime America, a $2.6 billion company, and his top 6 executives. And it was just me and those 7. 4 days, this time, they wanted fresh thinking, and they're thinking, like we sat there and talked a lot about this, okay? And how they were just, John Addison, who had spoken at our conference many, many times, he thought it was a brilliant move. He knew who they were. He'd just taken Prime America public from Citigroup just recently, so it involved that whole game up in New York. I called a good friend of mine, Jack Cavallo, who was in the upper echelons of Jeffries Group, probably one of the more successful investment banking groups out there. He had for a lot of other banking firms did. He said he's done some investment with them, and called a friend of mine, Keith Frankel, but it was an nutritional company who's been involved with them. It just kept coming back good, and better, okay? And so I just love that. We check out Harlan Fearnley, what's happened here the last 40 years. We check out great. Check out MidOcean. We check out who they are, what they've done. Check out great. And I've heard from everybody, these are smart guys. These are smart guys with honesty and character. They know what they're doing, okay? And so I can tell you, I just think we're so privileged and honored to have be in that position. You know how many people in North America right now are not having these kind of words said to them? You know, their job doesn't have this kind of future. Okay, what's going on in their life doesn't have this kind of opportunity. I mean, this is like the synergy, the combustion of bringing prepaid legal, the great, beautiful things that Harley showed with all of us that built this company, and bring that into MidOcean. I always said 2 minds create a third more powerful mind. When you take the past of prepaid legal, you take the future of MidOcean, that's 2 entities create a third and more powerful entity, and you get to be a part of that. Okay? Something just click with it, you can tell that they can be your friend, okay, not just your business associate, but your friend, okay, and I immediately got that from him. That's even though the advice still met with everybody, but it felt good to me, okay, and so I get the opportunity to bring up, when this transaction's done, the future CEO, the one that's continue this legacy on, turn this into multi-billion dollar company, the leaders of the leaders in this organization. The future CEO of this company, welcome to the stage. We stand up and look at this guy in our future. Mr. Rick Bacon, thanks a lot.
Thank you again for such an incredible, warm reception. And, you know, I got to tell you a little short story. About 13 years ago, I'm going to introduce you to my great friend and the next marketing genius who's going to take this company to the next level, Alan Fearnley. I met him down in 2 minutes. And right after we purchased the other business that we ran together, Jack Cosmetics, we were doing a big event like this in Las Vegas. And 2 or 3 months before the event was held, Alan shows up at my door, California, Westlake Village. He says, I can't do a British accent, but I'm so good. He says, listen, we're going to have a big reception to start this event off. And be about 5,000 to 6,000 people, and cocktail party. And a cocktail party. And so, Alan, where are you going to do that? And he said, well, we're going to do it in the big room at Caesar's Palace. He said, would you like to be the MC and host it? And I said, you're going to ask me, a former trial lawyer, if I wanted to host a cocktail party at Caesar's Palace for 5,000 people? That was the role I was born to play. Now, Alan's starting to walk out of my office. He says, yeah, by the way, what do you think? Should we do anything a little special? And I said, sure, maybe a Siegfried and Roy thing or something. 2 or 3 months go by. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about the convention, the keynote for the next day, and open it up. And there's a knock on the hotel door. And there's this guy looks like Russell Peake at the door, saying, I'm security. And I'll take you over to rehearsal. He said, rehearsal for a cocktail party? I've been rehearsing my whole life for that. So we walk over, and this room is this big. And I walk in, and it's totally empty. And at the very end of the room is a cage with 2 little guys. I mean, these guys were smaller than jockeys who do the Kentucky Derby. These were smaller guys. And I walked up and I said, what are you guys doing here? They said, we're Siegfried and Roy's trainers. So they spent a couple hours with me learning this trick, getting into a cage, thank God they didn't show me, with a 600-pound Bengal tiger. So that was the opening that night. And the next day, when the convention opened up, as I'm getting ready to walk out on stage in a serious moment, Alan pins on a tiger's tail to my suit. And of course, what does he fire up? Eye of the tiger. That's the background. It's just wonderful to be with you all, and I really appreciate the warmth and the welcome, and it's just been marvelous to see folks like Brian, Darnell, Nick Serban, and Krista, and all these wonderful, wonderful presenters. And I want to talk about that now. But as I looked around today, I was feeling like maybe I needed a slight wardrobe adjustment. So I consulted Mike and Jermaine, and they had a couple of ideas for me. Mike, Jermaine, are you around?
Big ass
Is that the symbolic time of the month?
How I'm living lives. Now, how do I do a serious address after that? Well, let me just start with a couple of things. First of all, again, thank you for this great welcome. And I do get to introduce Alan, which I think is going to enlighten people about some of the opportunities that just see all over as it relates to branding, marketing, opportunities to even grow this business larger to the next level. One of the things we did when we first came into this business is we spent a lot of time looking at systems. And I know you've heard a lot about this today, but it's so important because back in the home office, they have to do everything right every day. And they take that responsibility so seriously. From Leslie Fisher to Linda Brown to the entire team back in the office. And when I spoke to them a couple weeks ago, I said, now you don't understand what you do, but people maybe don't say thank you. You don't want to hear about it if you have a problem. But we appreciate what you do every day. I had a really wonderful opportunity back in, I guess it was December, when we were doing diligence on the company. I spent a day at one of the provider law firms. I was at Parker Stanbury in Los Angeles. And the pride that those men bring to work every day and women is just absolutely stunning. I was a lawyer, practicing lawyer, in New York and New Jersey for over 20 years. You can fool me about a lot of things, but you can't fool me about the practice of law. And the day that I spent with them, I learned so much. Like a lot of you coming into this system, I was thinking, how is this possible? $26 a month. It's a $2 And they were very patient with me and walked me through how they could bring tape and explain to me he had 65 lawyers in their team that did nothing but work on lawyers. And in addition to that, they have an intake center of 60 phone operators that field all your calls. And what's amazing, because I listen in on some of these calls, what's amazing is it's like calling the neighborhood law firm down the street. Their operators are so professional. They answer the phone and they know if your member is calling, it could likely be about a report on that. Even if it's not an emergency, just think about a consultation for a will. It's a different thing to go through. We don't all go through it today. Those calls from your members are handled with respect, compassion, sensitivity, and a sense of immediacy. You can go to work every day knowing with confidence that the home office and the provider network will be impeccable. And in fact, with those systems being in such a great place, there's really no reason you can't go on and grow your business for as long as you want it to grow, as big as you want it to be. You know, we have a group of associates that are here. They've been here for the last 2 days. I had a wonderful opportunity several nights ago to meet Pablo and Christina Fields. And let me just spend a moment welcoming them on behalf of all of you to the event today. With an open heart, thank you for being here with us. And in fact, could we all just take a minute and stand and face the back of the room? And here's how you say thank you. Thank you all. Now, let's talk about your product for just a moment. I've been really lucky to be involved in some marvelous network businesses over the last many years. And your product is the most unique, the most special, and the most important product that I've seen, inner or out inside the arena of network marketing. You're not selling a new shade of lipstick or a new shade of eyeshadow or the newest acai drink or energy beverage. You're selling something that's so important and offering hope, fairness, justice. And really it's so resonant with what this country is all about. I thank you for what you offer to Americans and Canadians every day. You know, when I traveled a lot the last 60 days, and I've met so many of you, and there's certain recurring themes that seem to come up throughout many of these meetings. And one of them is, are we a product company, or are we a business opportunity company? We're both. Are we a group marketing company, or are we a network or small business arrangement? We're both. We're one company. We have one mission. We're united. And we will stand together.
Let me
ask you to think about it this way, and we can inverse this, but let's say you've got a friend down the street who has a small business, and he knows that you're involved in big legal. You can turn around and schedule an appointment with him and just share with him this amazing small business opportunity that is unlike anything in the market today, and I can guarantee you, as a business person, he'll need it. He's going to have a great experience. You know that experience will be terrific because your provider law firms will make sure it's exceptional. As a result of that experience, let's say that same business owner has a dozen employees. Gives you a chance to say, hey, you know what? We offer a product for group. Why don't you give me a chance to come down at lunch and I'll put out something for your team to have for lunch and just give me 30 minutes to spend with them. You put on Kristen's presentation or Imelda's, in that 30 minutes, you're going to convert 80% of that room. They will sign up right there while you're in the room, every time. Now, as you think about the next logical progression, if those individual benefit users have a great experience, which again, you know that they will, and they have brothers or sisters or other friends, where does that reside? That gives you a chance for a network sale. This is a continuous circle. We're all involved in it the same. Each business segment supports the other, and it's an absolutely wonderful balance. And please think about that as you go to work, when you leave this convention, and you plan what the next couple of months could look like. It's so exceptional, it's so supporting within itself, that it gives you an opportunity to continue to stretch your business. Now, when Alan and I were running some wonderful cosmetics businesses, both direct and retail businesses, every day we had to fight for market share. We were running Jaffa Cosmetics, we had to deal with Avon, Mary Kay, New Skin, New Ways, Nature Sunshine, Houston, I could go on and on. You know these names. Oh, by the way, when we're done with that list, we'll talk about Estee Lauder, Clinique, Bobbi Brown. You know, we can go on and on and on. Here, you are the market. You define the market. We're as big as your dream, and we're as big as you want to work. And there's room for you at whatever level you want to work. There's been a lot of encouragement here, which is absolutely so vital about moving to the next level. We like you, we embrace you, you're part of this family at whatever level you want to participate. The opportunity is there, the support is there, the wisdom of your leadership, which is the very finest in the world of network sales, is there. I urge you to take advantage of it. Call on your leaders. They will be there. They will take you by the hand. They will show you what you did and what they did and how that works together. And this will lead to your success. I found such generosity of spirit among the leaders that I've met in this business. I've not seen anything like this in my career. And it's very humbling. And Brian and Darnell and Mark, the rest of the CMT staff, for everything you do. Now, in a moment, I'm going to introduce you to my friend Alan Fearnley. I'll give you a little background on Alan. You know, Alan's like a penny that keeps turning up. This is our 5th business together. And I'm happy to say each business that we've been involved with, we've grown. Not just grown, we've grown significantly. Alan brings 30 years of network marketing experience in marketing and branding. His business background and expertise is like a hand in a glove for the business opportunity that sits out in prepaid legal right now. I just don't understand in friendship, said it yesterday, why this name is not resonant throughout all of America. I'm going to introduce you to a man in just a moment who will put prepaid legal on the lips of Americans and Canadians. And it will help you and your company grow to the next level. Please help me welcome the incoming President, Chief Commercial Officer of Prepaid Legal, Mr. Alan Fearnley. I feel like I'm really nicely being good now. I'll come back. Not as good as well. Hey, listen, I've been, as you know, traveling around with one back now, and I need to get my press today. Spend this whole press today off. And you know, that time I met you, I'm aware in this presentation, what sort of you have, I've actually changed it to presenting the same slide over again. But I know that some of you are here, and I was knocked away the first, I think the first week's professional Irvine, California. That was my first prepaid experience. And 2 weeks later, I went back and I had the same slide. I didn't think the same thing twice. It's very important for the audience, of course. And so what I did is, I checked with the office and I said, listen, I'm going back to Orange County again. And you don't think there's any chance that the people of Irvine, will be in the same, go to the next meeting, otherwise I change it. And I said, no chance. No, that was Dave Sago's group, and this was Jeff Olsen's group, so completely different people. So we had about 600 people at the Irvine meeting, and then when I went to Anaheim 2 weeks later, they were all there. And I'm just wondering how many people I've spoken to so far, here tonight. So I'm going to call you up and I'd like to stand up and now one at a time. First, anybody here from Irvine? How about when I moved on to Anaheim? Are you down to Anaheim? Let's do an apple. Let's drop in an apple. Let's get a little bit around an apple. And that mob in New York where they were hanging out the rafters. When I've been in Ada, and the whole in Ada, I made this phone call, and like there's nobody else in the whole world except the people in Ada, which is practically nobody. Was anyone over there listening on the phone? So you're more like you can go over that. So that's more or less the entire audience, so none of you need to see this presentation at all. Okay, let me put your slide up there. Let me see what we do. I've got a little presentation here. And I'm going to talk more things. Now, I noticed that when this never used to happen to me when I was in Texas, this was every kind of Texas, very interesting, the colours that I now, but you guys take notes. I mean, you're really serious stuff. I went to, there's a room over there where guys are sitting down around a nice stuff chairs, big tables, and they're all scribbling notes like crazy. And I watched that stuff, I thought, well, this is a presentation of context. This presentation will tell you how we're going to unlock the potential in prepaid legal. It's quite a serious presentation. I decided to upgrade it a bit. It's a bit more serious than normal. There's a lot more content than normal. You may find it difficult to keep up with the notes. Don't worry, I've arranged to have them posted at a later date. So if you don't mind written down, we'll written down for you so you can have a look. But it's a real simple presentation to enjoy. We're going to start off by going to business school. And I've arranged a 4-minute business school session where I'm going to produce some cases. I think they'll enjoy that. And then I'm going to talk about what we're doing to understand our business. And how we move forward with it. And then I'm going to talk about understanding our product and really understanding what's driving the product, what's really lying below that thing. And then I'm going to finally, I've got a really good transition slide about two from the end. I'll tell you when it's coming, which will give you the secrets to building greatness into this business. So you need to pay attention because this is going to be a pretty good presentation. I'll say so, I wrote it myself, of course. So let's go to business school. Now, here, unfortunately, I'll tell you what's happening. If you stand here, I didn't realise I'd be presenting in front of the Acropolis. And so what happens? The beam of the Acropolis gets in front of the slide, so I can't see the slide. And I lost my glasses on a plane 2 weeks ago, so I've been to the drugstore for these. You might want to put me one eye mic for a while we put these on, just so people see how the light on. Like that? I'm not saying this with good luck, don't understand, but I can see the screen now, so it's a big help for me, don't know I can't see the screen. Okay, so we can go back and have a look at what's on there. Thank you. Okay, in the full cases that we're going to review, I'm going to show on the left side the existing model that exists in the industry. And then we're going to talk about the disruptive model. I need to explain this sense to you. An existing, let's take that furniture store that's up there, you look on the left hand side there. The existing model, in the high street there are lots of furniture stores, right? There'll be one that's selling kind of old antique furniture, there's another selling new kind of modern furniture, there's one selling kind of Swedish type of stuff, there's kind of plastic furniture and blah, blah, blah. Whatever they're selling, that's called differentiation, right? That's how you differentiate yourself in the market. So we've got all these players that they differentiate themselves in the marketplace. On the right hand side, I've got something called disruptive. Somebody maybe said, oh, let's not call it disruptive, it sounds like it's a bad thing. Well, it is a bad thing. These are the naughty boys of the industry. These are people who don't take notice of the rules at all, they break the rules. So I'm going to show the industry where the incumbents are there, and they're differentiating themselves, but they're working within the same model, and I'll show you the disruptive model. You all with me so far? Excellent. Good students. You're all passed. So we do the third one. So we're now in the furniture store. It's in the high street. You walk along there, right? You're going into, you walk there, you have kids, and you walk in the store like this, and then you start to look down the street, about sniffing down the circle like this, and it's a chaos, I don't know what to do, better get out of here fast, we'll pick that one over there. Then you go away, you choose fabric, and they write it. I got my glass on now. The assistant takes an order, you pay in advance, a lot of money, and then they say, good, go home, sit on the cardboard box, and wait for 12 weeks. And after 12 weeks, they call you and say, okay, we're coming round, sit on the box for all day whilst it delivers. That's the existing model. That's how I mean. And then, of course, good news, it arrives really quick. There you go. Let's talk about IT. Right here over here. I can't see that. Okay, so let's talk about IT. In IKEA, they're not in the high street. See the difference straight away? They're not in the high street. They're out of town, in the warehouse. They don't have to worry about the kids because they just drop them in the ballroom and they say, if you behave yourself, you can eat meatballs later. Different kind of concept. They choose from what's on show. You pick it up real fast in the warehouse. I mean, you walk around the warehouse, you ever walk around the warehouse, but when you walk around the warehouse, you put this thing down, and you drop it into like a big supermarket cart like this. I mean, this is not the high street anymore, this is a disruptive model. Something strange is happening. You run through the checkout, and then you kind of find your space in the parking out there. You stick it on the roof, or better still, you try and get it in the car, and somebody sits in the back like this, and the car is very well done, right? And you went through some kind of hell, but when you get it home, you build it yourself, and it takes you 12 weeks to build it anyway, so it's now like this. And but if you do it right, you use it the day you buy it. That's the point. Now, what is this for? What makes it so disruptive? It's not different from everything else. It produces a different result. It's what I call low service, but really low price. And just a couple of places by itself, not $1 billion company. You like that? Want to do another? Key students? Think about like that. Oh, sorry, I have to do this. differentiate on timing. Yeah, that's more or less the same thing. What happens? They have multiple aircraft. They have great big aircraft, like they fly over to Europe and back, and then they have medium-sized aircraft that go across the continent, across the USA, and they have tiny little aircraft that fly into Asia. So they have multiple aircraft. No, not that time. Then they have, I've never seen one plane go to Asia. Okay, and then they have multiple classes. Okay, so the multiple classes, of course, what happens? They come on and this, okay, yes, this way. So what are you, 59A, over there? 59B, yeah, that way. 57A, A1. Come on, Reyes, so like multiple classes, very different, And then you get the food, right? The food. And the food's different over there. You're going to have caviar sandwiches. Over here you've got mixed meat. In a plastic, Now I would know what's the champion first. I've got one time to finish. And it's hub and spoke, right? So, of course, you want to go from Dallas to San Antonio, you can get there via Alan Fearnley in Chicago, you'll pay $69. It's hub and spoke. They try and drive you through where they need to be. There's clear standard seating, and of course they deal with major airports. In comes Southwest Airlines. Completely different model. They only have one kind of aircraft. 737. I understand it very well ventilated these days.
What did you say? I understand it very well ventilated these days. They can crash and fall apart.
They have one class, Apple class, over there. They don't do the fixed seats, it's peanuts. They throw the peanuts as you walk on there. They go from point to point, they know it's okay. You go from places you don't know to other places you don't know, it's a model. You're all on first come, first serve, and you're all in little packs and scrummage for your seats and all that kind of thing. And then, of course, then you're fighting that question there. Now, the key thing is here, there's not a lot of service going on now. There's not a lot of service, but a very low price. Yeah, very low price. So, completely disruptive model, and really rocks the industry. We should move on. Starbucks. My great disappointment, no Starbucks. So before there was Starbucks, there was the donut shop. I think, donut shop. I don't know Starbucks in service. So what happens when you go to the donut shop? It's the old discount, and the donut shop is the model. Hi everybody over here. You don't get a lot of attention over here. Okay, so in here we have so you go in there, you have the drip coffee, and you have the plastic laminate shop fittings, it's not very bit rubbish, and it's a coffee there, all that kind of thing. You can have decaf or you can have regular. It's already, of course, already the pot brewing, to give it a little bit of work. Then you have donuts, you sit on hard seats, and you're more stylish, so I'll probably come to a restaurant or something like that, or a radio, or something going on. Here's my face. Okay, on this side now, guys. Hi. Howdy. Got a hat. Thank you. I love the hat. Okay, on this side, what's going on is Starbucks. Starbucks is now, of course, it's espresso, probably posh glasses, okay, so now this is an espresso or drip. You go in there and it's wood. It's very elegant, and then you have it as you like it, out a little cappuccino machine with extra dry, sort of mocha, whatever you like. Of course, no problem with that. They are. As you like it, made to order right now. You have designer sandwiches, you know like the rubbish, you're going to have goat's cheese and beetroots and alpaca scraps, and then, lovely soft chairs, and elegant show. And you're sitting there, and you're thinking, every time I say goodbye, I'm sitting there, I'm listening, and wherever I'm suddenly, fortunately, I'm being told to And neighbors, they didn't wait for that. They just kind of threw it out. They couldn't, they just couldn't make the transition. They didn't know what they were doing there. But, when we make the transition, then how much should I pay for that experience? How much should you pay to go to Portofino for 2 minutes even? Well, you pay $3.94 or whatever it is. So you pay a lot more than the 37 cents of a coffee in the other place. That's the thing. So you can see how this is a disruptive model. This is high service, high price. High service, high price. Okay, so we should do one more case. We're not into it. You like this one? Sorry, hang on. Sorry. It's very attention to this case. It's what got me the money from London, believe me. This is the existing legal service. You wait for the problem to arise in the existing model. You decide that you have to decide at that point whether you're finding a lawyer or not. You have to be sure. Okay, it's a hassle lawyer. I do $150 to sort out. It's just the word stays there. You find a lawyer and you hope that he's good at addressing the problem. Because if he's not good at addressing the problem, you're not going to pursue it. Right? There's no way around that in some way. And you really hope, you remain unsure as to whether he's spending his time efficiently. Not, of course, our lawyers. We're our lawyers in the audience, and I can actually what? Is that it? Well, listen, you're doing good. Like that. We love you. We're not talking about you guys here. You're our house. Our storekeepers. We don't count with this left-hand side of the fence. You're on the right-hand side of the fence. Right-hand side of the fence is where the stuff happens. Let's go for our right-hand side. In the prepaid legal model, now paying attention, deeply paying attention to this, that this is at the heart of everything. And this is, if you understand this, you understand why there isn't a problem to grow this company. I'll tell you what the problem with this company is. I'll tell you right now what the problem with this company is. It's this cold spring waiting to burst open. You don't have to grow this company at all, you just have to release it. We engage your lawyer. First of all, you prepare for the problem. You engage your lawyer no matter how small the issue. So, like, very niggle knows the way. You don't have to really niggle. You know you're dealing with a top-rate quality assured law firm, and if you're not, let's say the issue's going to sort them out for you. You don't think there's a way down on the QC side. And you know that it's prepaid, so it's motivated to be efficient. I won't bore everybody with my taxi driver story, although I won't tell you. Quotation for, because everybody serves a lot more of it. But, New York taxis used to go from JFK into Midtown on an Eaton. So you didn't know, especially if you were out of town, how much you were paying for it. If it took you half an hour, that was good. If it took an hour and a half, that was also good, because you got paid 3 times. Yeah? So it cost you a lot of money. It cost me like $60 the first time I went. Now it's $44. $44 prepaid, because you walk in there and it says Midtown says $44. It doesn't care whether it takes you 5 hours or 5 minutes to get there. Believe me, it's much more likely to go 5 minutes. Yeah, because it's prepaid. It's paid to be efficient. It's paid to be very, very fast and efficient to get the job done. That's what these guys do. That's why you get the cost benefit, because Howard Stokes drove efficiency into the system when nobody else got efficiency into the system. That's what small subtlety as we went through the 4 cases. It's like having to go through business school in 4 minutes and a bit of a fun. That's quick. So, anyway, we'll leave it with go back to the first one again, and now I want you to concentrate only on the bottom right-hand corner. Are we, let's have a look at what we're on. Are we on the... No, all the way in. Let's go forward. Go backwards. Backwards. Because it just occurred to me as I got to them that I kind of understood the importance of yeah, that's it. Thank you. Okay, you want to mess it up there, but I don't want to miss this point. This is a key point. Put it on the right-hand corner. Concentrate. We're going to go through all 4 real quick. The first one is low service, low price. Second one. Sorry. Second one, Southwest. Low service, low price. Next one. High service, high price. What's prepaid? Low price, high service. point I'm making, I'm glad you observed the point. You've got to watch that really carefully. We are in with such a phenomenal opportunity. An opportunity I can't even, when I write this thing up in Harvard, that's the first thing I'll ever see when that goes by high service. So I can't be excited about it. Let's move on to stage 2. They're all calm down a bit, I'll go to a slide and see it's not exciting. Oh no, this is exciting. Sorry, take it all back again. I'm worried that we might be exhausting the market. I don't know, you guys write 1,000 applications now, maybe they're just exhausted, maybe they're just seeing everybody, maybe there's no room to grow here. Okay, so in terms of households, we've penetrated by 2%. In terms of revenue, we've penetrated by less than 0.5%. That rounds to zero. What does that say? It rounds to zero. We've got 99.5% of the market to pick up. If we double in sales, we go to 1%. If we quadruple in sales, we go to 2%. I understand what I'm saying here. Look forward, guys. Look forward. First of all, let's understand what's going on. We've, the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks now, we've been going through a very exhaustive process of getting our stuff together. We're trying to understand the market. We have an attitude awareness surveys we've put in place. Where we are on that process is we've got final quotes. I've got a motion to reach out to my hotel room as I speak, and we'll be pulling the trigger on that over the next week. What we'll be looking at is 4 kind of areas of the business. First of all, is the unaware potential customers. These people who've never heard of us. We need to understand how they respond to what they're getting. Because the question is communication. These people aren't just not getting that much slide. Then we're going to be talking to buyers and sellers, and we're going to try to find out, the members of the associates, why do they stay, why do they leave, what do we do, or what do we do to meet their expectation. I know it's not the correct time, there must be something. I know in this 30 years, all the answers, no question about that. I've got people who might be already spoken. And the third thing is to look at the talk to leaders about what they're seeing, and make sure the leaders understand what's in front of them in terms of challenges and so on and so forth. So that means that research is in place. And as we go back, we'll develop our product offering and our campaigns. And we're going to turn all that knowledge into better, or what I say, better communicating products. And this is something that we've got to get really, this is a very fundamental thing about why we exist, what is it? And I told a story in Atlas and Dallas, I've got to tell the story of the washing machine. I'm going to tell you the story of the washing machine. It's a fun story. I've told it very many times. I've told it once. And I say it, I can tell you that you're wrong, so you can spoil the surprise. But here is the new story. So, the first was, I grew up in Yorkshire, this whole bunch of Yorkshire, it's mining community, and in this mining community, there was a great ritual that took place on Mondays. It's called Wash Day Monday. And on Wash Day Monday, as I grew up back west, whenever I can remember, my mum would pull out the washing machine, and she'd put it against the sink, and she'd fill it full of hot water, and then she'd start washing at 10 o'clock in the morning, and she'd finish more by starting 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we were going in little batches, 20 minutes at a time, and put it there, and washing machine would go like this, and then she'd have a manual, and she could have got a power manual, but she didn't have a power manual, one of these things where you squeeze, you don't know very well, but yeah, you squeeze it, and you'll go like this, and if the kids were off at school, like they are at school, can we do this great thing to manual put them on, and all that kind of thing. I mean, it's a hard, torturous day, wash day, Monday. And so I went to, I got my first job out of after college, and I worked for the Yorkshire Electricity Board, who was studying the lighting industry. And I joined the marketing training, and the first thing I did was stick me out for a few to sell. And I did 2 weeks of sales school, those lessons I've never come up with, so it was really good. And I then went on the shop floor. After 3 or 4 weeks of this, I started on this washing machine, the service washing machine. I remember it really well. It's a fantastic machine. Very, very reliable. But most important, it was automatic. So I went up to the mom and I said, Mom, I've been working with wages now. I see what we're doing. I'd like to buy your investment machine. And she says, what's that? I said, well, I'd like to buy a machine. He told me that it was a switch. He said, what would that be? And I said, I'd like to buy a washing machine. Now I don't need a washing machine. So I said, no, Mom, I think you need a washing machine. She said, I've not had this one very long. I said, no, Mom. It's automatic. Oh, I don't know. So you automatic. I said, what's wrong with the automatic? So what takes so long? I said, you put it in and it's 2 hours, going around like this. But this was on 20 minutes to wash. It's took me 2 hours to go around. That's one time to tell them, don't watch it. I said, you just put it in there, you fucking put it in, close it on, and the washing takes as long as it takes to shut the door, that's it. No, I don't need it, I don't know. What would I do with a washing machine? Oh, I want to buy you a washing machine. I don't want to buy a washing machine. No, I'm not buying you a washing machine, I'm buying you Monday. You get Monday off for the rest of your life. Figured it out. That was fine. That I was not selling washing machines anymore. I was selling Monday. Think about it. You've got to think about this really carefully. You've got to be thinking really deep now. Because when you buy a attribute, you have to think about attribute and a benefit. An attribute is this thing washing in 2 hours, right? The benefit is you get clean sheets. But keep digging down that benefit. Also, that's Wednesday, the 5 whys. Keep digging down that benefit. Why is it that it's not? You've got to figure out where the basis of this is. And once I figured out it wasn't about clean sheets, it was about having Monday, that made a far more power. You think anybody got out of that store at all without a service washing machine? I mean, they would come in and say, oh, I need this stuff, yeah, but what you really need is Monday. Come over here. I'm only coming for a toaster, no problem. Come on, I'll give you a toaster and Monday. I was a top selling service salesman in all that place. Nobody knew me before. I went to Kevin Taylor's food school. And Kevin, I'm not saying that wherever you are, it's not bad, I'm not saying that. But Kevin was facing a lot of family people finding selling fruit. And I said to him, he said, guys, you might find yourself being a bit pushy, and all that sort of thing. Let me tell you, pushiness is to do with how much you believe. Because I am definitely not, I don't even think I'm pushy, I'm not pushy. I don't push, I really don't. I'm a pussycat. I tell you, I listen to everybody selling an app. So I find people who approach me with apps. There and there, and everybody will get up there, listen, I'm always listening, I'm open, I'm open. But let me tell you, I wouldn't let anybody else go without a service washing machine, because I believed. I wasn't being pushy, they were entitled to the same money as my mum was entitled. In my mind, I didn't have no problem selling. Do you understand? If you understand what's in there, you don't have no problem selling. You're not pushing anymore. Let me tell you about the family fund. Let me tell you how I view the family fund. The life events products with 5 titles. We've got the book with 5 titles and 101 reasons. It's great. Right? I love it. An interesting thing happened to me, guys, in Minneapolis. After we finished it, what happened when we finished the meeting, fantastic meeting, Mike and Brian, fantastic, I love it. We got out there, and then I finished spending 2 hours. I spent 2 hours with Beth, who's a new executive director. She's only with Beth and Sky, and I bumped into Beth outside there. We were spending 2 hours trying to do this guy Philip to join, and I told him that John is here today. So isn't that nice? So I was up to all the other things. Okay, I'm going to use that still, because that's what I was doing during the day. While I was doing all of that stuff, I got my shirts beat up. Because very importantly, I'm covering with 6 shirts and 5 looking for a wash. I was running in the morning for the Indianapolis meeting, and by the time I finished with Sky and Bed, I thought my shirts would be done because it was like 5 or 6 o'clock at night. Imagine my trauma when the only shirt I had, that the shirts didn't turn up in the room. So I thought, oh, that's done. Now what do I do now? So I thought, the first thing I have to do is turn my shirts. So I go down to the front desk and I say, okay, so you've got shirts and shirts? Oh yes, yes sir, they're definitely done. Good. Got half the story right. I said, but they're not back. And he said, I'll check. They're not back. Why would I? Because we've got a new driver and he missed the run. So unfortunately, he can't. So I said, come in tonight. So, no. And I said, how about tomorrow? So, no, because it's not something. So, I I'm going to buy it. And suddenly I had an epiphany. I swear. It has just changed my life because, and you see why it changed my life. Because as I wondered back, I thought, I don't care. What's going to happen here? I will buy the shirts. or they'll lose the shirts. If they lose the shirts, that's not entirely right. I went to bed last night and I slept like a baby. I was picking out shirts from Nordstrom. My mother bought from Target, they don't know. I was picking from Nordstrom. And I was really good. In fact, I was really disappointed when they turned up eventually. My point is this. The whole thing has gone away. It didn't matter. So when we look at the product, when we look at these products, itself, the family. What am I talking about here? You see, it's like, you got the family plan, so don't worry, we'll deal with it. You know, we're a phone call away, anywhere, anytime, we're here for you, your family is fine, don't let things go, give us a call. What am I really selling here? Well, I'm not selling Monday, but I'll tell you something, I'm down close. I'm selling worry-free, every day, every night, now, to get to the root of what I'm selling fairly quickly. It's taken me to lose my shirt to find this. And it's not a strap line, it's not an advertising line, it's what we call a concept. Right? I normally never share with anybody because normally I'll give that to an ad agency and I'll just turn it to English. You see what I mean? So I'm not suggesting you go out and tell everybody I'm selling this. But in the back of my head right now, every time I talk to somebody about a prepaid product, I'm thinking Mondays, I'm thinking worry-free, every day, every night, now forever. Because that's the root cause, that's the root of what we're selling, that's the root of what we need to know, that's the root of what everything needs to revolve around, because that's how the product is. It's a powerful, powerful thing that's being sold out there, and we just need to communicate it. Okay, let's talk about this. But of course, we're selling all the products. Yeah, we're selling. We're selling we've got members. That's what they buy. They buy worry-free every day, every night, now, forever. We've got these associates. And by the way, I've changed my mind on the associates. I got really down strong with the sort of these associates in the middle. So if somebody joins and they're not doing too much, I said, that's great that they're not doing too much. But I forgot how to model works at that time. I was only, I've not been in business a week when I was thinking that. I thought, unlike most direct selling companies, if somebody comes in, they pay a fee to join, and then they can buy products at half price. Lots of people like really complain about no juice and coffee and all that sort of groups and people. All that stuff, you buy and then you can buy at half price. So what happens in those kind of businesses is that you get a lot of, they're not sellers at all, they're wholesale buyers, but they're great. I mean, I love them. I love them to bits because they come in, they pay some money for a fee, and they take the privilege of buying half-price products for as much as they like. So in that business, you're selling to wholesale buyers, and I didn't realize in this business you're selling to sellers. Yeah, because there is no advantage when you join the company. There's no price advantage for a half price. The price of products are discounted down to give the maximum force in the marketplace. So that's my point. So now when somebody joins, first of all, my first point is to talk to them. If someone pays $149 to sell our product, they deserve $149 for the training and support. That's the universal truth. You have to forgive them now because that's why they join. We owe them that. More than that, we owe them to tell them this. Why are you bothering paying $149 if you're not going to sell anything? Because otherwise I can pay you $149 right now. It's not that kind of a company. If you want to spend $149, we'll help you on your way. But surely you should go to sell something because there's no reason to do it otherwise. And yeah, I know you've got a lot of profit associates out there, so they need protection from themselves in some way. Or at least they need to understand one day, so they can go tell it to somebody else. At the very least, at this end of the spectrum, they'll get self-improvement, confidence. I'm going to say attendance groups, young people walking away from that feeling thrilled. They met people, they spoke a bit on stage, they get through knowledge, it's great. It's great. And that people did stay great, they'll say quite often when they stay with us, I love to bits. All those people who associate, I love you, but some people will walk with them. Now, on the liquid side, of course, these are people who scramble, they work, they sacrifice. appreciation and recognition, purpose, friends, money, that's what we have. Now, so we need to operate in all three areas. We have to have members, associates, and leaders. We have to make everybody satisfied. Now, I was talking to somebody the other day, now I have to change my version because I've got this thing on a piece of paper here, but I decided I saw writing existing over here, so I wrote a right over on here, over there now. Oh, now I've got to change my glasses. What is this? Okay, don't mind yourself for a while. Okay. The question I was asked was, what was the question I was asked? Oh, no, sorry, thank you. And now I need the other glasses. And the question was asked, how do you sell, you're marketing diets and so, how do you sell to members, how do you sell to associates, and how do you sell to leaders, And I said, it's funny, I don't really think it like that. I'm going to show you a little model now. And this model is not my model, every single marketing textbook, from when you were 17, so if you haven't come across it, it was really. But the youngster, I just don't look at it in that second way. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to write down, I'm going to start, I don't know this, what's going on? I don't know. You see, I know the model, I don't know the name of it. I'll give it a name. It's very personal. I'm going to call it customer development. Well, it's no E, right?
What did it say? Customer developer? Customer develop something.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
In here, you have unawareness. And then here, you have awareness. And here, you have trial. I guess trial is really people who try. People who try. And then you have regular purchase. That's one purchase. And then here, you have aggregators.
What's the last one? Advocator.
So let's take time. You're not saying much time. What are you trying to do? You're aware that people have never heard of time before. Whatever. You're asking people have never heard of time. That's one. Then you've got people who have time. Let's say self-advertising. And then somebody says, what type of food? And they say, then they try it. And then they try it, and then they say, I'll start buying on a regular basis. This is people going up the groundwater continuum, which is very important. It sounds like something but it's really serious. Then they get filtered, they start to advocate. And as a marketing manager, what you try and do is you try and circle up with people all of them. And what you're trying to do, you're not going to make them unawares, become advocates. So it's not possible. They don't know that. So a little by little, what you try and get is after each one at a time. So you try to push the unawares into the aware, find out where they are, advertise to them, make them aware. The awares you're trying to go to trying to go to the regular purchase, and the regular purchasers who want to be advocates of the product. That's the continuing the advocates, of course, are out there giving what possible word about it. It's really important. The question is, of course, answer must be that the next thing must go to sellers. Yes, it's like an associate. And then once you've got to the point where you want to sell it, really you must want to, you're happy with something, now you want to recruit. Which is what is it? So, in answer to the question that I was asked on the screen, can we just pop the screen back again? The blue one. Thank you. We can come back to that later, right? But so when they answer the question, how do you go to each cover screen on there? Then the answer is, of course, it's the same person. The same person who is a member, is also potentially an associate, who is also potentially a leader. And if you go through that process of looking down the list, the big thing about the list is not everybody can change straight away. Some people may be a leader as trialists for a long time. So those people you need to kind of get after and move on. And if you think about in terms of in legal terms, if somebody's an associate and they've been an associate for a while, you don't write them off, they've never become a leader. You just need to be concentrated. The second that associate starts to advocate, then they're ready to. As soon as a member starts to advocate, then they become ready to be an associate. As soon as the associate starts to sell, they become ready to be a leader. So I look at it as one of the same people across it. Now this has got two important consequences. One I've just told you, which is you need to kind of figure out where it is. By the way, there's some parts of this whole that you don't know. These two parts here, this is Alan, this is me. You don't worry about these two parts. I'm going to make unawares aware, and I'm going to get awareness to what to try. So that's one thing. The second thing to think about is a certain statistic, and that is that people can people can come to stadium and sell, right? They're recruited, let's say, sales options, and 5% of associates don't actually own the product. 5% don't own the product. They see the opportunity to sell, but they didn't feel the obligation to buy. Now, I think you should be aware of, just be slightly aware of those people. The reason is that if you come through this line here, and then you become an associate, you're clearly going to sell Monday, or you're going to sell the equipment, because you understand. You've gone through the process so you understand. If you come in straight as a seller, then you need to learn Monday real fast, because otherwise you're going to come across too pushy. You see the difference? You see, I wasn't pushy because I understood the product, but I wouldn't be pushy because I didn't understand the product. I don't sell service without understanding how they're selling Monday. If they don't understand that they're selling Monday, then they're going to be pushy people. So the first thing to do is tell them how to sell Monday when they come in on that basis, I think, and then they can catch up with everybody else. So those are the two takeaways, if you like, from that little chat. I'll go back to one. The key point is that with all of these groups, everybody who joins the company, it's very important that everybody receives a positive experience of education. I don't want any kind of people feeling in any way scared or thought feeling bad or anything like that. Everybody we don't have to do it. I mean, we don't have to have anybody feeling bad, and we can do things to make them feel good. And what we do to make them feel good and keep everybody positive, but I need all that positive word of mouth right up down. I need positive word of mouth from the members, and positive word of mouth from associates, and positive word of mouth from leaders. I want everybody having a good experience all the time, and this is the way to do that. Well, I think not much on this chart so far, so we're not quite good. Let me tell you, to make that possible, for everybody to feel good, everything needs to happen right. So on the members side, look at the opportunities we've got for screening. Yeah, just look at that. I mean, it's seriously okay, I got it. Still there? Good. I've only got another 10 minutes to go through them, so. Okay, key messages we've got showed up here. Member contacts the provider service as a need some good experience. Contact them, need some good experience. Good contact airline needs a good experience. Good contact with the internet needs to look good. Good contact with look at news needs to be naturally input. It needs to be public relations needs to be good public, good needs to see good PR about the company. She's on the receiving end of a sales pitch. Needs to feel good about the sales pitch she receives. So if we get any of these things wrong, they don't feel so good. They probably don't show, they feel bad about the company. But we have to get them feeling good about the company. So we need to get all those things right. Let's look at the other side of the equation, so we've got even more opportunities to screw up. Yeah. See, there's more things as an associate. See, the associate is, the associate has to be trained, so he needs to be some training. He needs to be some sales relationship, he has to be some incentives, he has to go to the events and meetings, he needs to feel good about the associate service from the field, like the upline, he needs to feel good about the company service downline, he needs to have good recognition, he needs to have compensation, he needs to feel good about the research. Yeah, if we're very, very good, people will feel very, very good. This lays the foundation for building the brand. And let me tell you why this is very important. This is where I tell the story of my daughter having on the computer. Technology demands. We've seen whole governments taken down by technology recently, and don't think you can take countries down as well. So, if my daughter becomes a member and she has a bad sales pitch, now she's got 500 friends on Facebook, right? Let's assume that her friends, all have 500 friends. We're 2 clicks away. 2 clicks. We're 2 clicks away from 250,000 people listening to what my daughter says. So my daughter says, yeah, I had a sales pitch from Big Baby Really Sucks. 250,000 people know it really sucks. See my point? What happens if she's on the other side of the top? What happens if she becomes an associate, and then let's say recognition model. Okay, and she's just become an associate, and she's had some recognition, and she writes to all her friends, she says, yeah, I just couldn't think of an associate, wow, they really recognise me, they made me feel good. 250,000 people know she feels really good. You understand? The stakes have been high by technology accelerating everything that we do. Now, the question is, and this is the slide I told you about right at the very beginning, which is really important, because the question is, will we get there? Well, all of that being great and doing good stuff, is that enough to make it good? And let me tell you something. First of all, you don't have to wait for Alan to bail into some interesting stuff to be successful. Yeah? Because you can be good right now. You can be good right now because Harlan Stonestein has left you something to be good. He's left you as a great spot to happen, and that's what you're going to be good tomorrow. You can write it into that. You can fix the product, we don't have no words on the product. But we have a lot of work to do, in my opinion, to be great. And I'm not quite convinced yet that we'll get there, but I might be convinced in a couple of months' time, or maybe 3 months' time. I don't know. It'll take time. I'm not going to have a try yet. At the top of this presentation, I talked about great brands like IKEA and Starbucks and Southwest Airlines. When you go to IKEA, there's always those meatballs. Always those meatballs. Nobody opens an IKEA shop in California and said, well, we're Californians, we live like those small packets now, have the meatballs. You know what I mean? The meatballs, no, because it's iconic with the brand and so on. When Starbucks was in danger, nobody said, listen, it's going down very badly at Starbucks, and they're associated with all the spots in New York, so what we're going to do is we're going to call it Jimmy Bunch or something. No, they didn't call it Jimmy Bunch. They said, no, we've got the tolls and change the name of the thing or something. Or well, in that case, we might still big risky sandwiches, because all that Dunston's and Vinches and Alpaca just go down. No, we're not that kind of thing. Brands are built on consistency. This is the point I'm making, and you are telling the truth. Great brands are built on consistency. Delivering the same thing everywhere, every time, all the day. To become a great brand, you've got to become consistent. Very difficult to do with our itself. Very difficult to do with our itself. How can we get our literature, our training, our customer service, our brand name, everybody agreeing to everything all the time? How can I get anybody to agree with worry-free day and night for the rest of their life or whatever I said 5 minutes earlier because I can never remember these things? That's a difficult thing to do, Darren. You know why? Because, your own type A personalities in here, I'll tell you, you all got an opinion, you all know how to outfit, you all know how to do the business great, The only problem is, each person's version of grace is different from the other person's. Do you see my point? So what we're going to have to do is put a process in place. I had a cracking meeting with the RVPs the other day to talk about exactly this point, and we're committed to being the first direct selling company, the first company to really crack that direct selling, because if we can get it, that's what unleashes the bomb. That's the thing that explodes the company. That's the thing that will make it work. I'm serious about this, so I'm going to put a suggestion right now. Here's a suggestion to get consistency straight away. Yeah? We have a this called the SMAS program, Management Advantage Services program. It costs $5.95, and it provides all this stuff. Business calls, emails, you get connected with people from. Everything that the earnings will increase of that member by about 20% if you take out max. I don't know, I'm sure, but it looks like something like that. And the reason is, it will make sense for each member to use the service to stay a little bit longer. So here's what I'm thinking. Wouldn't it be just great if we could persuade 400,000 associates to use this service on their next sale of membership? It's consistency, customer service. And if that happened, I'll think 6.6, 400,000, $2.4 million into the company, that's nice. Of course, I'll spend a bit because it costs that to provide the service. But I'm thinking, oh, what a shame, Alan. You got to the end of the presentation, you did so nice, and then trying to steal money. That's what you're thinking, right? I know. So I'm going to do a deal. From Monday until the end of May, okay, so that's 6 weeks, we're going to reduce the price of the member advantage service to
So then we're not getting $5.95 out of our sales now? Yeah.
up to the surface where it struck a little pair of wings, and it flashed with light. Now, in normal circumstances, it would be taken out. It would be taken out. But the phenomenon of ephemeraldantia, unlike here in the mayfly, which was affected over thousands of years, is that they all come at once. They all come at around 3:30 in the afternoon, and they're all gone by 4:30. If you're a trout sleeping at that time, you miss everything. It's a phenomenal event. The mayfly hatched, and it sits and it hits the water, it comes up, and they come like paratroopers, and the water is black with these things. It's a phenomenon. And then what happens is even better. It sits underneath the grass at the back, and it stays there overnight, resting for the next day. And then the next day, when the conditions are right, hang out, you have to wait to the ice, but you want the conditions right, bird no rain, it's transformed itself into this magnificent mayfly. It sheds the first element. This is one of the only factors that can and now there's this great, beautiful, big series. And it's a fabulous looking thing. And it's about an inch long. And it's a fabulous, wonderful looking thing. And it looks out, it seems to get the conditions right. And the males, very interesting, it's just the males, go out and they start dancing. I mean, you know, the animal can do it. And he's dancing. And the males spend some time dancing, about an hour. They don't know what it's about. And then the females look and see what's going on. You know what I mean? And they say, oh, they're dancing. So they go and join them. And they're both dancing together. And they're looking for each other, you know, best dancer. And then they mix. Yeah. Well, you know, when you're a mayfly, you have a long time. You know, so you've got to... You don't have time to mess about, you know, you've got to be straight. And I always thought it was a marvelous thing because immediately afterwards, the males died. Yeah, well, the females don't die. Yeah, only half of them die. And they die almost instantly. They mate and then they drop in their close minutes because they spin down like this, you know, I guess, ecstasy or something. So then, as they die, start taking on the skin down, start coming up with conclusion. And then the females take a couple of they hang around. I don't know what they do, you know, but they hang around for a couple of days, you know, just chilling out. People actually doesn't know more action about it. But then they fly upstream, like 150 yards, and they lay their eggs, and they tumble down, and they land more or less where the hatch took place. And that way, the mayfly sustains itself. And you know, I think about that story, and I think about prepaid people almost in the same respect. Because I think, you know, that one day, not too long from here, that we'll get down here perfect. We'll find every condition right. We'll find things that are good and great. So when that moment comes, we start and we rise. And one person pops out over, and together we rise to the surface. Together we rise. Together they work together. Real concern.
it was an absolute joy. First of all, let me thank everybody for being here today, and again, all of you that are here for the weekend, and of course our great friends from MidOcean and all of our top leadership today. There's so much I'd like to say in a relatively short period of time today, because just the fact is that we're limited, and I want to make sure that you all get out of here because we've got sessions that we have personally with organizations and that. And, you know, I want to take you back just a little bit, and then for those of you that are new here for the very first time today, for your first convention, and just share a couple of things with you. I want to kind of tell you a real story of your faith in just a short version. And I want to take you back to 1969 when I was with Harlan in that car wreck. And I remember crawling out the window. Harlan was already standing out, and I looked at him and I said, you know, you're driving like this. You better start a legal company. That's a real story. And I know that we'll get back to it. But I am so thankful and humbled to be here today and with all of you. I do want to take you back a little bit. My lovely wife Bear was here in the front row. Devin and I have been around and getting announced forever. And I traveled across the country. I tell the story about her and I growing up in the State Street, 10 hours from each other. Knowing her since she was 5 years of age. I know this gets boring to everybody, but she was really the same time. And then we've been married now a little over 41 years. A lot of great things have happened in our lives, including 2 great kids and 3 great grandchildren today. Just a lot of wonderful things have happened in our lives. Not only great health, but the opportunity of being here today on this stage, because I remember I've expected in my entire lifetime coming from wherever I grew up. A little Ohio town, little red little light town, little population of about over 4,000 people, still 4,000, but that hasn't changed much. Little football town, a place where on Friday nights you could rob the entire town because everybody was on their way down to the football field. And Beverly was a cheerleader, and I was a football player at that time. And we grew up in that town. It was a great town. Her father worked for a bread company. My dad worked for the rubber shops in Akron, Ohio. And the house that I grew up in is still standing today. In fact, I still own it. I'm going to give it away at some point in time. It's still got wool insulation in the wall, and those door handles that you antique people love to go look for, okay? All right? It's one of those great little towns and communities. Bev grew up in an FHA 235 house with 3 other sisters, 1 bathroom. Our dad drove that Bond bread truck, so we didn't come from really getting wealth, as many of you all know here today. But we didn't come from great wealth to really get down here. We came from great wealth because we were surrounded by people who basically cared about people who really were the kind of people if your town had a situation or a challenge, or if your family was in trouble, somebody would come to your door. There was no latches on the door back then. My mom used to cook for everybody in the community. It was just a great place to grow up. And just to kind of fast forward and going today in the world of prepaid legal services, to when I was introduced to this company in 1985 as a product. And the reason I want to spend a few minutes on the product is because it really is, and you're going to hear from all these experts today, Alan, who's basically the branding side of this, and Rick and all, and Nolan and Jack, Frank, and all of our MidOcean people here today that recognize the undervalue of this great value product that we've got today. They see it, and they understand it from the outside in. I understood it back in 1985 when I was sharing the product, and I bought it, I used it, and that's a big thing for everybody in this audience here today. Number one, if you're really going to recognize the value of what kind of company that you own and operate, which by the way all of you do here today, the fact of the matter is you better start using the product. You better get those wills done, you better get the things done that basically communicate with these great law firms that you saw come across the stage today who are part of your teammates. And I know they're still here today. As a result of there are teammates. We're all part of the same great, wonderful team. And if you're not going to use your teammate, then I'm going to tell you that you're probably not going to be on the playing field of the opportunity in the world of prepaid legal as far as the product and service is concerned. And when you own this product, it's all over. They didn't understand it. They didn't use it, okay? But that 1985, I bought the product. Beverly and I used it for a number of different things. We'll get into all that here today. To make a long story short, 8, 9 years later, somebody said to me, well, would you like to take a look at the business model of suitcase? Now, I was already sold on the product, so it really wasn't too difficult for somebody to take me to a lunch. Spent $2.89 is what they spent at the little discounted lunch in Atlanta. Shared the marketing plan with me. I said, this is pretty interesting. And the gentleman who shared it with me wasn't that bright. He wasn't that talented. He wasn't anything exceptional. But the fact of the matter is, he had built a 6-figure income in your legal, but most importantly, in a relatively short period of time, he built a 6-figure residual income. And I didn't understand that word until later on, okay? But I knew that he was living a pretty good lifestyle, and I thought, well, I'm going to do a thorough investigation. Now, why was I going to do a thorough investigation? Because I was at the age of my time in my life where I was really at a point where, you've gone through, a number of decades. I was 45 years of age at the time. Been through a few little bad business things that I wasn't happy with. So I was going to make sure that the next decision that I was going to make was going to be as thoroughly done as MidOcean has made the decision to be part of Premier Legal Services today. And you mentioned Roger Staubach became a shareholder of Premier Legal. And I'm a big football fan, so I decided, was there any possible way that I could go meet this guy? And obviously somebody set it up, and I was able to go to Dallas and take a look and meet with Roger. And he convinced me that a couple hours north, 3 hours north, was a little town called Ada, Oklahoma, was one of the greatest opportunities and silent little secrets that never was involved in the industry. So I made the trip to Ada, Oklahoma. I'm not going to bash Ada, Oklahoma, because I can tell you right now, it's a wonderful, beautiful place. It's a vacation spot in the world. People go there, they love it. It's a wonderful place. It really is. But when I went to Ada, Oklahoma, and I went into the office, I can remember the first day I walked into that office, and people were walking around with a leather sweater on. And I thought, why would you have a leather sweater on? It had a P on it. I said, what does this P stand for? The high school that you went to, the college you attended? They said, no, this stands for Premier Legal. I said, are you required to wear that? They said, no, we're not required to wear it, so we just basically leave so proud of our company that we want these on our own. I thought, what an amazing situation. The question I'd like to ask all of you is, how many of you would go buy a leather sweater to the company you work for right now? And I guarantee there'd be very few of them, right? The fact that they were that proud of it, and they were part of the community. They were the people that went to that Friday night ball game together. They were the people that went to church together. They associated themselves together with a community with closeness and ties, much like our little Ohio town where Beverly and I grew up in. And that caught me. And then I had a chance to meet the employees more so, go through the tour, and then I had a chance to meet Mr. Harlan Stonecipher. And when I met Harlan, I met a man of integrity. I met a man that basically reminded me of a good coach, reminded me of a Vince Lombardi mentality guy, a strong, tough guy, came from a sharecropper's background, living out in the middle of nowhere, and just a guy who was concerned about what he was doing. So he found something after that car wreck that he was going to dedicate his life, that he was going to change. Now, a lot of people from time to time dedicate themselves to do things, but then along the way, something generally takes place, and the proper situation that arises as a result, they back away from it, or run away from it, or they give it up. Not this guy, okay? He made a decision that there would need to be a legal coverage program in our country, and he was going to create it, he was going to stick by it, and he was going to make it happen no matter what the circumstances were. To the point, as many of you well know the story, where he borrowed the money on his own furniture to pay his employees when the times got tough. He went through difficult times and storms and so forth, but he survived those storms because of his pride and his willingness and his dedication to the cause that he had in mind to make this happen for all of us. We would not be here today had you not had somebody who had that type of really solidness in their life to be able to create that opportunity. This would not exist. This would not exist today. I went to my first convention in Ada, Oklahoma, at the Ada Country Club, which I know John Long gets real mad about this, but I wasn't really sure that this was a country club. And there were 64 people at this convention. 64, right? We had a little buffet. It was exciting, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, shows up an attorney general. An attorney general shows up in this little Ada Country Club. I think the attorney general of Oklahoma drove all the way down to be at the 64 people. Make a long story short, I told Harlan after that convention at Ada Country Club, I said, let me tell you something, Mr. Stonecipher. I said, what you need to do in the next 5 years, you need to rent the Coliseum in Oklahoma City because we're going to fill it. And he said, Dave, you know, he said, Dave, a lot of people have said that before, okay? They talked about that. I said, I'm going to promise you this. I said, what I have seen in my time here, not only the home office, now the convention, now the Attorney General, and I understand who you are now. And I understand that I want to play for you. And I understand that when I leave and go out and build a business, and I'm going to go out and build the biggest business this company's ever seen, had no earthly idea how I was going to do that. All I knew one thing is I was excited. And I was going into the fourth quarter of my life, actually maybe in the middle of the third. Now some of you are in the fourth quarter. Some of you are in 2-minute warning. Some of you are here today. Right? And I made that decision that this next run that I was going to make a run on, it was going to be done with the right company. I was going to fool around. And trust me, everybody in the world came with me with every deal in the world. Everybody got a deal. There's more deals out there today than shake a stick at. I'm embarrassed there's so many deals out there today. Everybody's got a juice over here, or something over here, and crap over there, this over there, that over there. It's all a bunch of bull crap. All right, it's what it really is. You with me? They got too much due diligence that as a result of expertise be playing around those little games, right? And they decided to come to this arena, ladies and gentlemen. So I made that decision to go build this business. Now, why I'm telling you this today is because some of you here today are not completely committed on this business model. You know, you're going to get enough information. You're going to get loaded up with it. You're going to be so overloaded and overpowered with it, you're not even going to know what to do with it, all right? And some of you will still get these negative thoughts, these little butterflies that Alan was talking about. That will hatch out. They will fly through your head. They will mate. And you're going to be dead. Now, where was I going with this? It doesn't matter. I just want to get on the road. Are y'all with me? Where are you going, Doc? Get on the road, right? Point being is, I don't want you to become a detailed person. There's too many of you in this room today that you become a biologist. You're dissectors of everything. And I love to tell the story, and I know everybody asked me in the back if I would tell it because it is something many of you heard, but many of you have not heard. Okay? As many of you all know, I don't take emails. Beverly does it all for me. You can text me, I won't text you back. I can read your text, I'm getting better, all right? You know, Brian doesn't text me, I read them. I delete them very fast also. All right, but I don't know how to believe them, all right? But here's the whole point, all right? Actually, I come to a convention. I want to tell you a little story about the cell phone because I think it's important, imperative that we understand that we keep things simple. In fact, I was back in the back here a little while ago. Rip said, they don't really make this, do they? I said, yeah, they still make this, this cell phone. And because when I went into the cell phone place, I'm pretty embarrassed because I really don't understand technology. I was flying on the plane not too long ago, and the guy said, is that an iPhone? I said, no, it's my phone. I said, yeah. I said, this is my phone. That's your phone. Maybe your phone, it'll be your phone if you have my phone, but I don't know what the hell your iPhone is. Right? Anyway, I went into the store, and the person asked me, he said, what kind of phone would you like? I said, I'd like to have one I can call on, and one that would take calls in. And I can still remember this little girl started laughing. She said, well, this will be easy. She said, would you like to have one that takes pictures? And I said, is that important? I said, you mean you can actually hold this up and take pictures? I said, is that what people are doing? I see them doing that. I said, so every once in a while, just reply, do this. I got one picture on here. I've not been able to get it off. I don't know what it is, actually, but anyway, I got a picture. They said, would you like a Bluetooth? I said, what is a Bluetooth? You know, I had no idea what a Bluetooth is. They said, what's the thing you wear in your ear? I said, is that what that is? I said, I honestly thought it was a hearing aid. I thought it was a hearing aid. And people walk around with hearing aid. And I know that's a Bluetooth. I said, well, how does it work? She said, well, you can talk to it. And I said, well, you have to kind of twist your head up. So anyway, I get this Bluetooth. This is only for our new associates here this weekend, right? I leave a meeting at Service County on Monday night, Tuesday night in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm driving up Interstate 400 back to Lake Lanier. Very dark road. I'm driving, and all of a sudden, I look at my rearview mirror, and I see this blue light flash. I'm crap. So, I go off the side of the road. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. Here, I see the blue light still flashing. So, where is this guy? Right now? So finally, after 10 minutes, I opened up the door and I walked back, and there's no one in here. And I went, oh my God, I pulled myself over. There's others I won't tell you all about, right? Great story about this job. I didn't know they disconnected themselves after 30 feet. But anyway, I won't get into that one, right? What's the point of all that? I am not a technical guy. It's too many of you are too technical. I built $1 million income in prepaid legal by taking a 5-title brochure out of my coat pocket, spreading it out, and reading it. Somebody said, well, I don't read very well. Well, turn the engineer out, they can read it back to you. What do you gotta know? What do you gotta know? All you gotta know is what? The 5 titles? And where are you gonna learn all that from? You gotta get your what? Your briefings. You gotta get your meetings. You gotta get where there's exposures. You gotta learn how to do the program. You know, you gotta change here today. Somebody said, well, Dave, I don't have your personality. Here's my suggestion. Get it, get it. You need to get this personality. Are y'all with me? If the one you got you don't like, you need to what? Everybody say change it. Ladies and gentlemen, life is as simple as clicking your finger, and you can change. I'm going to tell you here today that most of you are not in the economic position in your life because you have not made the decision that's necessary to get there. You've not made that decision that you are tired of being broke. And when you make it's an instantaneous decision. God didn't make you shine backwards. Somebody said, I need leadership. I need leadership. Why don't you just look to the heavens and spin your whole house? Personal development's a big thing. Read the books. We got great books. Well, let me tell you something. It's personal activity that makes personal development. It's getting your butt out of your chair right here and getting in where the activity is. You'll develop. You'll develop, I promise you. Personal development will come from personal activity. If you're not activity, you're not going to develop. And I read a lot. Great. You know, you can read your manual in your car all day long, but the heck with all that manual. You know, here's the point I'm trying to make. You detail the whole doggone world. 15,000 parts in a car, you don't know anyone. Most of you don't even know where your spare tire is. You have no idea where your battery's at. Don't even give a crap. All you're really concerned about is it there when you get out of here today? Does it start? Does the lights come on? Does the brake work? Right? And when you start it and put it in drive, you go 80 miles an hour down the road. You don't get out and look at the tires at that point in time and see if there's anything else in it. You never did before. But when you get in prepaid legal, I gotta know everything. I gotta know everything. Our mother-in-law said it wouldn't work. Your mother-in-law doesn't work. Are y'all with me? Hanging around the cows that are just raising in the same grass and life. You got to get your butt out of there. Somebody said the grass doesn't always green on the other side of the fence. Why the cow have to do it? Now that's nothing but cow knows that. His head's eating the green grass. The other cows are out bringing what? The brown grass. Some of too many of you today has spent too much time grazing with the same cattle too long. And this is time that you make a change. And if your wallet is not full of money here today, if your purse is not full of money today, then you need to get over the fence to where the grass is greener. You need to make a change. Is what it comes down to. I love the fact of being the underdog in life. I love it. Little town we grew up in Ohio, we have 105 kids, 105 boys in the high school. 104 played football. That's right. 105 kids in football. I remember one time going to a championship football game, and this was after long after I was gone. I want to tell you the story. The little town of Ohio played a town called St. Henry. And they're playing them in the 1999 state championship game at Master Tiger Stadium, Paul Brown Stadium, up near the Hall of Fame. Right? My son Mike flew up with me. St. Henry comes on the field. They've won 36 straight high school games in a row, 2 back-to-back state titles. They got 9 Division I Division I players on that team. They look like an Ohio State football team coming out in the high school arena. Here comes little Mondo. Little guys, small little guys, right? The game starts. Make this very quick. At halftime, the score was 33-3. St. Henry, 33-3. I remember Mike saying to me, Dad, that look too good here. Maybe you want to catch the plane and get back to Georgia. I said, Mike, I grew up in this town. I grew up in this community. I said, those kids will not quit. I will promise you they will not quit. Make a long story short, ladies and gentlemen, with 2 seconds left on the clock, Monmouth tied that game up 44-44. It went into 3 overtimes. The longest game ever played in Ohio history high school. 12 records were broken from that game. In the 3rd overtime, the kid had kicked his very first field goal in the beginning of the game, came back out and kicked that winning football and won that game 61-58. The greatest comeback in Ohio history. Chills up and down my spine. It's because all they did when they got back to their little town is that they knew the town was behind them and they didn't want to let them down. And it wasn't the fact that the game was over at 33. It was that they had 2 more quarters to play and they sold out is what it comes down here today. You see, I want weakness in my business. I'm wrong here today. I want the underdog to believe they can do the great job. Beyond what you got to thank Mr. Stonecycle for handing the baton off to people that can anchor a way that can take you to the next level of opportunity in the world of free legal services. And that's why I'm so excited today to be here. But I want to tell you right now, as a coach to you here today, you got to get off your dead butts. Are y'all with me? You got to quit hearing off and worrying about little detailed things that don't mean a crap about nothing. You got to start getting out and doing personal presentation. You got to increase your breakfast meetings. You got to increase your luncheon meetings. You got to increase your weekly meetings. You got to get active and involved. Leadership, you are the leader. Quit looking at leadership, look above. Your leadership is always been there. That's why it's here. You got to make a decision here today. It takes that long to make that decision. I'm 63 years of age right now. Feel like 23. Get those 30-year-old butts. Pre-pay legal. I came to play in the biggest arena of my life. What I had left of it. I wasn't going to play it half-assed. I wasn't going to play it feeling out. I wasn't going to let some little sucker that's just going to tell me this doesn't work or never work a day in his life to tell me this wouldn't work. This is toughen up time here today. This is ass-kicking time.